How are you?
Hi, Rich. Good. How are you?
Good. I guess Susan and I guess someone else are having challenges getting in.
Yeah.
So if we want, I guess the topic you were going to cover today is one thing you could do to make your company sustainable. It was just going to be more of a talk, right?
It was going to be more of sustainability as an interior designer, how I see sustainability and how I practice it in my company.
Okay. So I would say you and I can go live and we'll just have fun with it. If they're having some technical challenges, I'd rather keep the show moving and just have some fun with it. We've got enough material to cover for the, the
Okay.
small amount of time we have.
Okay. That's good.
All right, Zoe, are you there? All right. All right, let's give them a minute. Hello from Massachusetts. All right, good. People are starting to log in. It says Susan is here. She's not set up as a panelist right now.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah. Okay. So Ryan just said that we're live, so we'll just go. So I will just do a quick introduction. So we have the acclaimed Miami-based designer, right? Marcy Garcia, known for her clear, understated and elegant aesthetics. So as we continue to talk through all of the different things that are happening, Marcy, just in the communities and just with design communities since the pandemic, what is the one thing you can do to really make your company, sustainable? Let's just talk about that and just give us your thoughts on that.
Okay. It's about taking the first step. That's it. As simple as that. People, and I've seen a lot of designers that don't want to take this route because they think it's difficult. They think that, like if we talk about sustainability, we're gonna get into this unknown world. But what I say and what I say about me is sustainability is a process, it's not a destination. It just takes the first step. It just takes the will to start wondering what will happen if we as a whole get into sustainable design. As designers, we are catalysts for change. We have the power to change our clients' minds. And that's how I see it in my company. I didn't start as an expert whatsoever. And I actually started this process about 3 years ago. And I had different reasons between personal and professional reasons why I started in this process. And the more I study, the more I read, the more I'm involved in the community, the more I learn, and the more I'm able to change my clients' minds.
Yeah, that makes sense. So tell us, do you have a recent project where you could maybe bring in some of the, how you used, just sustainability or even through the pandemic, just highlight something that you've done recently? Because I think that'd be great on just a recent event, because so many people are so concerned about, what's happening in the world right now. I see this as a massive opportunity for the designer community. One, because I think most people are home and grounded. They're looking at projects, they're looking at their rooms, they're you know, reprioritizing a living room, making it a second office because most homes weren't developed with two offices. There's so much opportunity, I think, for the designer to really add tremendous value to helping people redesign and reorganize, you know, their workspace and then their living space. So I'd love to hear on a recent project, something you've done where you can incorporate, you know, some storytelling in there for us.
Okay, absolutely. So this project, this is a very dear project for me for different reasons. The clients are great and they're older. One is in his 80s, one is in his 90s, and one of them is super sick. Has different types of cancer. So they contacted me before the pandemic. We started working together in January.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when COVID happened, we stopped everything. We didn't they didn't even think that we're gonna continue with the project. When they contacted me at first, they wanted just like a little renovation, like something mild in which, you know, like they wanted to do it quick, nothing major. I'm like, okay. And then after the pandemic, I came in with my speech. I'm like, you know what? I think it's important to, because of what's happening right now and because of your state, to really be sustainable and implement wellness in your project. They were, of course, I had to explain what it was, what it meant, because most of the people think it's going to be extremely expensive. So it takes education, it takes talking to the client. We finally started, and I finished actually 2 weeks ago. They are extremely happy. And what did we do? We ended up renovating. It was 2,500 square foot condo in Miami.
Wow.
And we were really careful and really thoughtful about every single element and every single material that went into this project. So the only thing that we didn't change was the flooring. It was existing. I didn't want to change it because I didn't want off-gassing when changing the flooring. But we changed all the drywall. We painted the walls with VOC-free paint. We changed all the carpentry, the millwork to be reclaimed wood. And we brought a lot of vintage pieces. We reupholstered a lot of furnishings. And definitely for every single fabric that we selected, I made sure that it was a fire retardant free fabric.
Yeah.
So, and I also, when I do this kind of projects, I take it from the sustainability part and the wellness part. I want people to breathe cleaner, healthier. Mm-hmm. You know, like we spend 90% of our time indoors, and usually people don't realize, you don't realize that you are like smelling all these off gases from furnishings from China that were made with I don't know what kind of materials and have all these kind of chemicals. You don't know. Every time you sit on a chair, you are breathing those off gases. Every time that you use a paint that is not VOC free, you are breathing this off gas. And this is what's making us sick. You know, I mean, besides other factors, but if you spend your 90% of your time in a building and you're smelling this, so you're getting cancer, you're getting all these kind of illnesses that people didn't used to get before.
Yeah, that's amazing. What's the climate like down currently in Miami? Is it are projects? I mean, there's always cranes in the air, but is the market really still doing thriving down in Miami? Is there still a lot of projects happening down there?
The residential market is booming.
Okay.
I've been contacted by tons of potential clients that wanna either they're buying a home or they are renovating their existing homes. So not so much the commercial I've seen, and I've talked to other people in the trade, and the commercial is not doing that great. People are not spending money in the commercial part of it. But as far as residential, almost every week I get contacted by, I get a new lead that wants to renovate a home.
That's fantastic. We had a question from Mary. She was just listening to your last explanation, and she said, did you go and see the client for the project you were talking about previously?
Yeah, we started working in January. So, and I met them in January, and we just selected a few furnishings because they were actually moving from New York to Miami. And back then I didn't know the whole story. I didn't know that he was sick. It was during COVID, because we created this wonderful friendship, and I used to like FaceTime with them every week, actually, just to say hi, that they opened up to me and told me, hey, like, I'm sick and I don't know how long I'm gonna live. And I really want, like, they remember like all my speech about sustainability and wellness, and they told me, let's just do it, because he wanted to live the last days of his life in a healthy environment.
That's interesting. Mary followed up. It's a good point. She says, because your client had a pre-existing condition, just give me one second. Did you feel comfortable being around them?
I didn't see them, but until, I want to say, a month ago. So basically since March until a month ago, I didn't see them. And I made sure that any person that was working at the condo would accept to see them, right? Yeah. Now we take all the precautions, because they're, you know, like the punch out list, and you still need to do a lot of things here and there, and the final details. So we take all the precautions, and we wear masks, and we try to be more than 6 feet apart. We do a lot of FaceTiming. Okay. Yeah. And whenever I'm gonna have, I had the countertop fabricator go actually this week, and he was gonna go with 2 people. So I asked my clients just to leave, to go somewhere else. They have another apartment in the same building, so they left the apartment while we were working in there. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Kristen has a question coming in. Are there any specific materials you stay away from to keep your projects sustainable and keep air quality clean?
More and more, I'm reading about the materials that I'm using, and about the companies and the story behind the company. As I said, sustainability for me is not a final destination. So I'm in the same journey as these other companies are, right? So as far as this, like, a company is committed to sustainability, and I read and I can tell that they are doing something about it, I support them. There is one thing that I try not to do is select fabrics that have fire retardant content, because that is extremely, extremely harmful to us.
Yeah. Yes, very good point. And then Carla has something for you, Marcy. She said, could you please share your thoughts on using leather, a durable, long-lasting material, which is a byproduct of the meat industry? These hides would otherwise end up in the landfills.
This is a very touchy subject because, you know, like the fabric industry is, I think, that the second industry that pollutes the world. They use a lot of water, and they contaminate the water doing the coloring. So I still use leather when and if necessary. This is one of those materials that I try to, I'm just in the middle. I haven't found something. I have found companies like Garrett Leather that they are doing vegan leather. It's not still 100% great, but again, they are in that process.
Great. Hey, it looks like we have 2 more guests coming in here. That's great.
Yeah, we've got people. You've got all your panelists now.
There we go.
We're not all named Zoe. I am Susan Inglis, and Pam Bailey has made it in as well.
Yes, we both got in at the same time. I think we were designated as attendees, and then we were scurrying in the waiting room trying to get our status upgraded to join everybody.
Well,
But
we're
it's
glad.
been great to be listening to the conversation and the excellent points that you've been making, Marcy, and that you've been drawing out, Rich. Good.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
this is-
Marcy, for doing the heavy lifting.
Of course.
Yeah.
Glad
So
to have you here.
We have some time for sure. So why don't we, can you give us your thoughts around, one thing you're doing to make your company sustainable?
Yes. And how about if we first introduce ourselves? Because like I said, we're not all
Sure.
named Zoe. So I'll introduce myself, and then Pam, you introduce yourself. I am Susan Inglis. I direct Sustainable Furnishings Council. We are a membership organization of nearly 400 companies that are involved in the residential furnishings industry in various ways, including designers like Marcy, and manufacturers like Currey and Company, and stores like large, medium, and small stores, and suppliers of material like leather. Crest Leather, where Carla works, is one of our members too. And each of our member companies has made their own public and verifiable commitment to sustainability and to transparency and to continuous improvement. And we support them in realizing their commitment with resources and education and guidance. And one of our initiatives is about addressing the problem of the harmful chemicals that are commonly found in furnishings. So when I was in the waiting room, I jollily chatted to everybody a link to a survey that we're doing to find out what people know about these chemicals and what they don't know, because we want to help fill that gap. So y'all please click that link and participate if you can. But
Susan, can I say something
Marcy,
really quick?
Yeah.
So it was actually Susan, because I've had, before I became a member, I've been hearing about you, and you were one of the reasons why I started doing sustainable design. So Susan is an amazing person. She knows a lot, and she's committed to the community and to all of us designers and manufacturers.
Thank you, Marcy. Thank you.
She's amazing. And Currey's been a member of the Sustainable Furnishings Council for 10 years. And we just so much enjoy Susan's presence in the industry and her, curious questions that she'll ask that she has no idea prompts huge discussions after she leaves among us. And we really appreciate the good work that you're doing, Susan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, from the manufacturing side, there is so much to keep up with in terms of providing healthier product to the consumer. And when we were having our pre-game huddle a couple of days ago, we were talking about how important it is to the end user to understand the origins of their product, how it's made, what goes into it, and have a story behind not only the design and the fit into the specified space, but this, how something is made is equally important. And we do see ourselves as well as our peers, using more recycled materials. We use a lot of recycled glass and reclaimed wood, driftwood, shells, materials found in nature like bamboo and things that grow back quickly and rattan. and lots of natural materials, which is also something that I think our customers are desiring, just more natural materials in their homes, and those elements. So
Yeah.
in terms of what we are doing, aside from specifying the use of these kinds of materials too, you know, just in our operations, right? We all get so concerned about packaging. And we recycle all of our cardboard in Atlanta at our headquarters there, and our paper, and reuse a lot of the wood crating that our chandeliers arrive in, because often we take them out of those crates and we either wire them or crystallize them in Atlanta, and then we will reuse that crate, obviously checking it to make sure it's you know, still strong for shipping, but we often do that. And I think the other thing that we've especially been doing, we're sort of forced to do, is a lot less travel this year, you know, and that, and leaving a lighter carbon footprint, and learning what we can and cannot do over video. You know, none of us are in the factories overseas. None of us are seeing the first iterations of some of our designs, and we're just having to do it. Tonight, I'm getting on the, you know, getting on one of these calls for probably 4 hours to review samples with our factory in the Philippines. So, but we're all figuring it out. And, you know, a trip like that, when you think of the carbon footprint, would I'd be gone for 3 weeks and, you know, away from home from that amount of time. And I think we're just all adjusting and figuring out ways to work, because we're forced to be home. But I think we're realizing, we may not need to travel as much when we come out of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a little bit of extra time here between our next talk, which is in about 15 minutes, and we're getting flooded with Q&A and chat, more so than any other. So this is great. This is obviously a topic everybody is thinking about. You're getting tons of kudos as a group on your effort and thinking around sustainability. And a couple of the questions are for Susan. They're coming in saying, do you have any resources and or websites, books that you would recommend that you could talk about so that people can take note of that?
I sure do have. First and foremost is sustainablefurnishings.org. There you will find right on the front page a handy finder where you can put in the type of product you're looking for. You can put in lighting or dining room or design services, and you can find companies that have made a commitment to sustainability, and you can see whether you like the way their stuff looks. Now, I want to tell you this. We know from our own consumer research that 90% of consumers would prefer to buy eco-friendly furniture if they like the style and if the price is within their budget. So it is the companies you are going to find when you use that search box have various styles, various price points, but they all have that commitment to sustainability. So our website is a great resource for products and services and for information. We have a resources section that has a quick buying guide that designers will find very useful, but also has a host of different resources, other organizations that can give you information about reducing energy consumption, about reducing waste, about health and wellness, etc., unto specific materials if you're specifically interested in wood or textiles or whatever. So there's a resource for you.
That's fantastic. Another question that came in is there's a few people trying to rephrase different questions around leather and other products. So I'll pose it this way. Is leather a sustainable product, and is latex a sustainable product, and can they be recyclable?
Yes. So yes, recyclable in both cases. And I'm going to answer this question, but I invite Marcy and Pam also to talk about this really big question. Is it a sustainable product? Well, sustainability is a wide umbrella. There are many issues that fall under this wide umbrella. Our planet is in enough trouble that we all need to get on it with our favorite issue and move forward. With leather, I'm going to start by making two main points. As we've already said, leather is a byproduct of the meat production industry. The meat production industry is a problem. It is a problem for the deforestation that's associated with it, is the top of mind thing, but also because cows are producing so much methane, so we're more greenhouse gases with those CO2 emissions with losing the forest, and more with all that methane. Cows are a problem, but it is not going to happen in our lifetime that people stop eating meat. If everybody reduced their meat consumption by 40%, we would be making a dent in the problem. You and I can all do that. We can conscientiously choose to eat less meat. That is still going to leave plenty of cows being slaughtered for meat and plenty of hides. And those hides must be used. We don't want them to be burned. That's all the more greenhouse gas. We don't want them to go to the landfills. All our landfills are overcrowded. We want them to be used, and we want them to be tanned and processed in as eco-friendly a manner as possible. It is possible, and members of Sustainable Furnishings Council are responsible about the way they tan leather. And then those products last for eons. They last forever. In the house where I'm sitting now, I have a leather chair that my great-grandparents bought, and it is still here. This stuff can last a long time. And if it doesn't, if they don't take care of it like my great-grandparents did, then and it does decompose, it turns into dirt. It is not a toxic byproduct when leather degrades. So there is my my few minutes on leather, but I do want Marcy and Pam to answer this question about, is it sustainable? What's a sustainable product? Because it is a matter of the person's perspective.
This is something that it's not black or white for me. What I see and what I'm very actually glad to see is that leather companies are doing research to change their ways and their processing, and they're coming up with new materials and new ways of making leather-like products. So we have vegan leather. Last week I read about a company in South America that was doing leather-like product with banana leaves. So there are all these new things that are happening, and that's what I think it's amazing for me, that through the years we're gonna see different options. If you don't want to use leather, if I don't want to use leather from cows.
Right, there is a lot of I think acknowledgement with vegan leathers that are growing in the fashion industry. And I don't know how much we're seeing yet in furniture, but it's something I'm really interested in hearing about. And Susan, to your point, we don't have to, go 100% vegetarian, to make a difference in the methane. It's just doing tiny steps. If we all do one little step, take one little step, or ask one question, or make one change, collectively, it's going to make a huge difference in the planet and the off-gassing that happens as a result, for sure.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
unless there's a question going in a different direction, we could talk a little bit about recyclability, because yes, leather can be ground up, leather scraps can be ground up and compressed into a new material, and latex scraps can be used for carpet underlay. Any kind of foam can be used for carpet underlay, the scraps. But recycled materials are such an important choice, not only because they save resources, but also because they save energy. And Pam, you mentioned about some of the recycled materials y'all use. Y'all do a great job at Currey, and other manufacturers do too, but y'all do a great job of using metal that is recycled, but also reclaimed metal. And so when you can, just cut the metal into a different shape, it came off something big that was being constructed, and they're little bits, y'all can make them into amazing lighting. And you use so much recycled metal and other materials. I hope y'all know that using recycled aluminum instead of new aluminum saves 95% of the energy it would take to make that product. So you might have another comment about recycled materials, Pam, I don't know.
Well, I think the glass is a great example. Yeah. And we work with a tiny glass factory near our factory in the Philippines. And they're quite small and, family-based company. And, but it's truly recycled glass. They are taking discarded bottles and they hand cut tiles from these bottles to use in chandeliers, or they will, melt it down and create beautiful recycled glass discs. And they are, when you think about like these artisanal butchers, who we think are such hipsters, but they really are doing nose to tail. These folks are doing that with glass. And, the same holds true, I think, for some of the natural materials that, sort of get removed from waterways that create these, clogs in the movement of water. And so it's serving a dual purpose to harvest, some of these grasses that do that. And then they, get dried and woven into beautiful chandelier shades. So we really are trying to do the nose to tail on, the entire fixture when we can. The opposite end of the spectrum, I will just say too, is, and maybe Marcy can speak to this as well, is, using energy efficient types of lighting. So LED is obviously, something that's out there, but I think it has a bad rap. I think there's people think of when the first LED bulbs that were blue and harsh and awful, and they immediately reject it. But really, when you look at that now, there are LED bulbs that you can use that are warm and, tend towards more the yellow and the, warmer tones. And they really make a huge difference. And they've gotten so much farther with the technology. And we're really working to, I think there's also this sort of, thought out there that, oh, it's LED, it's going to be modern and cold and ugly. And we're really trying to incorporate that into Currey-like designs that are warm and have the beautiful finishes and the components that also incorporate recycled and repurposed materials.
This is a very interesting point because energy and water efficiency is one of the topics that I find myself educating a lot because of that. People have this misconception that LED lights are just horrible. Everything's gonna look like a hospital, And the reality is that the sustainable world has evolved so much that we can create any kind of lighting design with any kind of ambience that we want as designers using LED light. That is my number one choice when I'm sourcing for lighting. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and it can be an
Great.
LED bulb. It doesn't have to be
Mhm.
integrated LED.
Yeah.
You know, again, that's the baby step. You could just switch to a beautiful warm LED bulb, or you can, you know, specify an integrated LED fixture.
Excellent. All right, we have 2 more minutes, so for a little bit of fun, let's bring it home with each of you giving us a little quote on sustainability. Make it up if you have to.
Well, my quote is sustainability is a process, it's not a destination.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
very good. I guess I would say walk and talk through the resistance that you might get from your clients about, you know, whether it's a assumption that it's expensive to be sustainable or it's harsh lighting, whatever that is, just walk through and talk through the resistance and help educate the end user.
Yeah. And I will say that when you do those things, what you are doing is contributing to sustaining a healthy future for everybody. And that is what we need to all keep in mind, is that our choices daily are having an impact. I think that's something that the COVID era has taught us, is how we are all interconnected, and keeping it in mind for sustaining a healthy future is important. I thank all of you for doing your part in that realm. Thank you for having us here for this conversation.
Yeah, I'm so glad you joined. This was great. We thank you all for your participation. It was great to hear from every one of you on sustainability. All your thoughts. It's just great for our community to be able to hear from all the experts from around the globe today. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm sure we'll talk again.
Okay.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.